Guys, hey, it's Jerry Miller. Welcome to the Caring for Creatures show. It's great to be with you on a Thursday. Officially now in the spring season, and the spring season's a great time to be a pet owner, a dog owner, because we get to play outside with our furry friends. We get to see the dogs at the dog park, or we go to the river, or we, play fetch outside in the warm weather. But also with the spring season comes things like thunderstorms. So we're going to take an educational approach to the Caring for Creatures show here on the I Love Seaville Network, and we're going to give kind of, the who, what, when, where, why of how to handle thunderstorms with your dogs. This is a topic that's near and dear to me. I have two German Shepherds, a big-time German Shepherd fan, and my boys, Max and Leo, actually climb, well, more Max than Leo. Max climbs into the bathtub to get away from these thunderstorms. So I think it's a very prevalent topic. Harris Tolber, our director, and I think, Harris, on that note, why don't we go to the studio cam, and we will welcome Mary to the show. Hello, Mary.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well. You came up with the idea of spotlighting thunderstorm management.
Absolutely.
With our dogs.
Yeah.
We all have a story, I'm sure, about how our dogs have been terrified by thunderstorms here. What are some of the things you've seen happen?
Well, I have my own terror of thunderstorms, quite honestly.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, some years ago, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago at Caring for Creatures, I was that close from being hit by lightning. And I was out running it was a thunderstorm, obviously, going on. And I went to check on a couple of dogs to make sure they were staying where they were supposed to be in their enclosure. And on my way back to my house, I heard this huge noise. I turned around, and not 10 feet behind me and maybe 5 feet above me was this ball of fire. It was an explosion. And I had the hair stood up on my arms, and I had a metallic taste in my mouth, and I went, yikes. And ever since then, I've been freaked at thunderstorms myself. So what we have at Caring for Creatures, we never know when particularly dogs tend to seem to suffer from this more. It's not that cats don't get afraid, but they crawl into something, very small and tight, which some dogs do too. But we have more of an issue with the dogs. And we have one dog, Nikki, who she's on anxiety meds. When a thunderstorm is predicted, we have to make sure we get that anxiety med in her. But even with the med, if that storm hits before we are able to get her in a crate, she runs out of her room area into her yard, and we have a no escape fence on top. She can get out of it.
Really?
That's how freaked out she is. And I have to always time it and make sure I get over there well in advance. Well, I watch the weather. Yeah. In this time of year, I'm always on top of the weather. And often the dogs will tell you anyway. When, you can just get that feel in the air, and I don't know what it is there. Picking up the pressure change,
in their ears.
The wind, the clouds, all of that, I think, after a few storms, and they freak out. And I don't know, some of these dogs may have often been caught in storms outside with no shelter.
Right.
So maybe that's why they're freaked out.
Why do you think it doesn't affect all dogs? Like Leo, my black German Shepherd, is not phased at all. Max, the Rin Tin Tin lookalike, is terrified.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a scientific thing in that their sensitivity levels are more, sensitive. They're able to pick up on things differently. I have seen dogs my own personal dogs, that I've had from a fairly young age, and they're fine when they're young. And sometimes by the time they get to be 7 or 8, and then they start experiencing, and my one shepherd, Amy, years and years ago, she was like that. She was fine when she was young. When she got to be 7 or 8 and a storm would come, she became more sensitive to it and would try to dig a hole in the floor to get into it. So it's frustrating. And I've known people who have had dogs. One of them was one of our adopters, and the dog went through a second floor window.
Get out.
Yeah, got really freaked out.
My Lucy, who we put down, as you know, Lucy, she would lose clumps of hair.
Yeah.
Clumps of fur would just fall off during thunderstorms. and like the worst thunderstorms, the more clumps of hair would fall out. She also would go in the bathtub. When she couldn't go in the bathtub, she would find and she would like curl up into a spot that I think like a tight spot that would make her feel safe, like in a corner or of some kind.
Right.
But interestingly, it has not impacted all my dogs, and there are remedies out there.
Right.
Which you have some of them.
Yeah, there are some things that we use at the sanctuary that have helped those who are not an extreme reactor to thunderstorms. One, and most of you are probably very familiar with this, is the Thundershirt.
Yeah.
The Thundershirt might remind you just a little bit of a like a coat you'd put on your dog in the winter.
Right.
With the exception of when you put it on, it's got Velcro on the chest and underneath the body. It makes them feel more like a sausage. It's put on much tighter. It's very stretchy, and the whole idea is for them to feel more protected.
Sure.
It's like swaddled, being swaddled, like a baby. And for dogs with a lighter reaction to storms, the Thundershirt might relieve that.
Okay.
And I've used it actually.
I've never used one.
You never.
You recommend?
One. You might want to try it
okay.
and see if it helps. I've also used this for dogs, not necessarily related to a thunderstorm, but if they were an anxiety dog, period. Nervous Nelly, fearful dogs.
Sure.
And we would put this on them, and it would kind of give them a feeling of comfort and confidence. And it's not something that you particularly want to keep on 24/7.
Sure.
But get your dog used to it.
Especially in the summer.
Exactly. And only for those moments. And maybe you have a dog who is anxiety-ridden when you leave for the day, or he or she is alone in the house, a little anxiety. If they get used to this and seem to be okay with it, try that.
Okay.
And it might be worth a try.
We've had, and we have, we talked about this off air. I've had some luck with the CBD oil and anxiety with dogs. I think it's still rather novel and not, how would you characterize it? Mainstream.
Yeah,
that's a good example. Yeah. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have used some CBD treats.
Okay.
And
which is
less
the oil
for,
integrated in the treat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have found for nervous Nelly dogs, again, a little fearful, anxiety-ridden, that it may, also takes the edge off.
Yeah.
Takes the edge off. They're easy to give.
It's like a glass of wine for someone in a social setting.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I can deal. I can deal now with whatever's going on. We have also used, this is just one product. This is VetraScience. It's called Composure.
Okay.
And all natural. And we also will use these for dogs who, before a storm, you want to get this into their system. If you're looking at a storm situation, get it into their system if you can, half hour or so ahead of something happening. And
so
often,
when you wait for the storm, it can be too late.
Exactly.
Because you're saying it takes a while to integrate into the body.
Get into their system. And once the dog gets ramped up and that adrenaline is pumping, there's not a lot. I mean, like I said, I have one dog that even prescription drugs. I mean, I have seen this dog in action where it's taken 3 people to get her confined into a crate because she will climb walls, she will try to get out windows, she'll get out of a non-escape fence, which obviously it's not for her. But anyway, a crate is often a safe place. You mentioned the bathtub is a favorite.
Right.
And it seems to me that I've read, and maybe, I don't know, anyone listening might know this, it's a place where I think the static electricity is not so prevalent.
I think that's the case.
That's
I think
what
that
it
is the case.
I'm pretty sure. So I know of a lot of dogs who do that. So make that available to your dog.
The tough part about the bathtub is that, and especially with Lucy, my Chow Shepherd mix, when she was losing the clumps of hair, it really, and this is a little selfish, but it would really impact the plumbing. Of the bathtub.
Okay. Sure.
Because like she was just shedding everywhere, and then next thing you know, it's going down the drain,
clogged.
and then it's all clogged.
Right.
So, it certainly was her favorite part to be in. Not saying it was necessarily the favorite part of the bathtub. The human as well. I was going to say the human. The bathtub.
The human didn't care for it either, or your plumbing. Another place is a walk-in closet. If you
Yeah.
have a large closet, I know a lot of dogs like to crawl it. Cats do. I have 2 cats at home also, and that's where they head, is to my closets and get under something or on a shelf with bath towels and crawl between the towels. So that's where I've had cats go. Another thing that we have used are flower essences. These are a little more subtle. This is the rescue remedy.
Okay.
And if it's a subtle emergency use, flower essence is what I call it. It's a combination of 5 different ones. I probably would not be without this.
Okay.
While it will not necessarily calm the craziest of storm dogs. If you put it in the water bowl at your home.
So is that how you're getting them in? You're doing it in the water bowl and not on a treat and throwing it to them?
You can do it both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put it in their food. You can put it in. But if you're gone all day, you may not know if there's going to be a storm. You can put this in their water.
Okay.
You can do a lot of things. But this is rescue remedy, and it may be something that can assist. I've used this for dogs that we've happened to find had just been hit by a car or was alongside the road. It helps them from going into deep shock.
Right.
While you get them to a veterinarian. It really has, and I've had it ease seizures very quickly.
Can you overdo?
Not on flower essences.
Okay.
You cannot overdose.
On any of them?
No.
No? Okay.
Not the flower essences.
Even the CBD oil?
Oh, that's not a flower essence.
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
completely different product.
Okay.
But the actual flower essence, and this is the Bach, there's a lot of flower essences out there. This is the Bach Rescue Remedy. And no, you cannot overdose. It will not interfere with any medication that your dog or cat might be on. You can put this in the water for any. It's okay for cats, okay for dogs. Anybody can take yourself if you need it. It works just as well for the humans as it does for the animals. Another product that we use a lot is essential oils.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
And I have 3 that we happen to use a lot in our dog areas, and we diffuse them. We have...
Well, tell them what that means.
Okay. Diffusing is you're mixing some drops of the oil in a little diffuser. You fill it with some water, you put drops in, you turn it on, and the little motor puts the into the air, like you were hydrating the air. But in it is the oils. We use lavender, which is very common. We use peace and calming. And this happens to be Young Living, and they have a new one, new to me anyway, Tea Away. It's for thunderstorms and anxiety for pets, or humans for that matter. The only caution is, from my perspective, these work really well in our inside kennel area where we have dogs. In fact, I will start it an hour before or 2 hours before I know the dogs are going to be in there.
Okay.
Whether it's, it could be I'm having a new dogs in there, could be a thunderstorm, whatever. It doesn't have to be just thunderstorm. But I get the diffusers going, so the minute the dogs walk in there,
you're prepared.
They're getting the whiff of it. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Too much is really too much. So read the directions on the size diffuser you might have. And if you have cats, I rarely use the oils or very strongly around cats.
How about
some
the
of them
difference
have
with the cats and the dogs and the anxiety, from your experience? Because I have experience with dogs. I have 20, no, not 20. Let's say 17 years of experience with the dog.
Right.
No experience with cats.
Right.
Can speak a lot of firsthand with dogs. No experience with cats. Are they the same kind of anxiety come thunderstorm or no?
Some, but in general, and we have probably 150 of them at CFC, and while some of them are nervous Nelly, I have never seen the cats go quite as crazy as the dogs.
Interesting.
They have a tendency to either pile in together with 3 of their 4 of their friends in the rooms that they live, or they go into a cubby hole someplace, one of their beds that they can crawl into, or they go under a shelf, or whatever is in the room. The carpeted things that they can scratch on, they go in one of those little holes. They don't go crazy like dogs do.
What do you attribute that to?
I have no idea. Other than the sensitivity, again, I don't know, because cats are highly sensitive.
Right.
And I would think even more so in some cases than dogs.
Interesting.
And I really I don't have an answer for that, because I've never quite figured it out.
Yeah.
Unless they're as anxiety ridden, but they hide it better.
Interesting.
You know, cats in general do that.
Of course.
When they're
They
sick.
wear less of their emotions on their sleeve.
Exactly. And you really have to be observant with kitties to know
What they're feeling.
Cat's just not quite right today.
Huh.
And it might be, if you notice it, then you're paying attention, and you might see a medical thing coming up, or you might check the cat out and go, oh, okay.
Because with the dog, with the thunderstorm, what I noticed is the panting,
Yeah.
the clumps of hair falling out, the uncontrolled pacing,
Yep.
the just like the nerve, like the looking around
Yeah.
type thing, and it's very clear. And oftentimes, and you've kind of touched on this, oftentimes mine are like predicting it before it actually happens.
Right.
Like a few hours before. I've even made the comment on this show when we had that big earthquake that really did damage in Louisa County. Lucy, my dog, was basically saying like to me days beforehand that something was going to happen.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, which I was like, what the heck is the matter
yeah.
with you?
I know. They are. I think some of them are more tuned in than others, but I can't. In fact, it's such a good question. I'm going to ask our
Marty?
vets, Marty.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be here in a couple of weeks on the show with us, so he might be able to tell us. If
I would
there's
love to
something-
know that
A
question.
physical brain difference. I really don't know.
Interesting.
Or cats have a better ability to process what they're picking up. You know, I don't know.
What? So when are we primarily seeing the need for these? Spring, summer?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, just because it's thunderstorm time?
Absolutely. The other thing now you can do is use music.
Yeah, I've used the music before.
Yeah. This happens to be through a dog's ear. They have several editions of CDs, and we use them. We have a CD and CD player in several of our areas with animals, including cats. And that we use on a daily basis, no matter what time of year it is.
You had, let's throw this to Harris. I think, was it a golden retriever? And I remember you having a story about this impacting your golden, Harris Tolber.
Yeah, with my dog, her name was Hannah. She had a really bad phobia of thunderstorms, but it really came into effect on, I've mentioned this before, the 4th of July. Every 4th of July, she would hide under the same, like my brother's bed in the corner, and we would just find her up there at the end of the night, just absolutely terrified from the sounds and the sparks. But yeah, she was very in tune with thunderstorms. She would be under some sort of, piece of furniture hours and hours before a thunderstorm came through an area. So she was really in tune with thunderstorms.
Smart dog. The 4th of July one is one that
that's the 4th. When you
Harris.
said that, yeah. What's interesting is the 4th of July and fireworks, assuming there's no thunderstorm along with that, there's no pressure change there, okay? So it's a noise phobia, a noise phobia. And I think what happens is some dogs who may have had a negative
to a gunshot
experience,
yeah,
around those noises, begin to get anxious just with the noise happening. It's not necessarily always a storm that triggers it. And the 4th of July, I know people love having their dogs enjoy the holiday with them, but it's one of the biggest days, or the day after, we get the most calls for lost dogs.
Really?
Yeah,
just running away?
Yep. And people either don't think about it, don't secure the dog in a safe place before they go to see the fireworks, or they take their dogs with them. And the dogs somehow get away or get loose, and they're often running. They're running from the noise, basically. And so I think it's kind of...
I think it's because of the unexpected, or like the
Yeah.
fact that they're
Yeah.
not used to it. I mean, it's one day a year we're letting off ridiculous amounts of fireworks, and the next thing we know, our dogs are terrified because it's unexpected. It's not
Right.
the norm.
Right.
And some of them respond differently. Like, again, I get back to Leo and the difference between Leo and Max and Lucy. Lucy, Shepherd Chow, Max purebred Shepherd, and Leo purebred Shepherd. The all-black German Shepherd Leo is scared literally of nothing.
Yeah.
And Max and Lucy, Max is skittish to the point where, like, skittish around the vacuum turning on,
No, yeah.
skittish around like a car starting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, are you a German Shepherd? I mean, because aren't you not supposed to embody
Yeah,
these
yeah,
qualities?
yeah.
But it's just the personal makeup of the dog.
Right. Absolutely. And my current dog is probably a Shepherd Lab mix. He's a big 80-pound guy, and he's young yet. He's probably about 4 years old.
Okay.
And
That's young.
Yeah, he's not affected by thunderstorms. However, I do think when there's particularly strong storms, because I'm freaky.
Yeah.
And so
He's
now
sensing
he's
you.
picking up my freaky
Your
out
vibe.
time. And so once I know everyone's as safe and secure as I can get them, the CFC animals, and it's that ugly of a storm, I take my animals and go into the utility room, and because that's the no window room in my house, and we just sit there and I
Chill
wait
or try to chill?
Yeah, I try to chill, and I'm listening. And Charlie, one time though, ran out, and now he's barking like a vicious dog in the room where I have my patio glass doors. And I thought, oh man, now I have to go out there because I don't know what he's barking at. And I look, and a huge section of a pine tree had come down and was right up against the window. But other than that, he was fine. He was not. He just, I think, was concerned because I was concerned.
How about the difference between the bigger dogs and the smaller dogs when it comes to managing the anxiety? You see any changes there?
We don't have huge numbers of little small dogs.
Okay.
So I would say, from our experience, from the medium size to the larger, it can. I don't see a particular attraction.
Because for some reason there's the impression that the bigger dogs are more courageous, and I think it's just a misconception of size.
Yeah.
When from what I've seen, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
Like I've had, for instance, Lucy was like the 48, 50-pound Chow Shepherd mix, and she would go toe-to-toe from a courage standpoint with like mastiffs,
Right,
and they would
exactly.
back down.
Right.
And then Max is like a $110 saddleback, and he will not do that. But then Leo's the $130 all-black German Shepherd, and he will go toe-to-toe with like a bull. and like
Exactly.
make the bull back down.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
Jerry,
believe
I
that.
have a question
Sure.
in regards to this. For Mary, this is something I've always wondered, Mary. To what extent are dogs like aware of their own size relative to another dog's? Because like my grandparents' dog is a little schnauzer, and it just it'll square up with like the biggest dogs, and sometimes she's kind of the alpha male of like some
Absolutely.
big
Yeah.
golden retrievers following her around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's less about their physical build, and it's more about their energy.
Okay.
The energy they project out into the world. And that is what I see a lot of. As an example, as the biggest shepherd I ever had of my own, Baron was probably about 110 pounds. And when he came into CFC and I adopted him.
It's a big shepherd.
Yeah. And I had no idea how he was going to do with cats. Didn't really know his background. But anyway, I had a little 7-pound calico cat that backed him off.
Really?
I mean, he was like, yo, and get that thing away from me. Well, those of you who have cats, and if any of you have a calico cat, they have this very unique and interesting energy about them that's strong. It's strong and it's powerful. And I think the animals read that energy. And that's why you have Chihuahuas that go up against a 100-pound dog thinking,
Chihuahuas
I'm
are
just
ferocious.
Yeah. I mean, I know they can get eaten in one chomp.
Right.
But, there are instances where the bigger dog goes, ugh.
The
Back
Chihuahuas are
off.
oftentimes leading to the most bites How many
Yes.
times have you
Yeah.
seen a Chihuahua in an owner's arms, and then someone who is inexperienced with Chihuahuas goes out to pet the Chihuahua, and the next thing you know, their fingers coming
Exactly.
out bloody?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
Absolutely.
even mess with the
Yeah.
Chihuahuas in an owner's hand.
I don't think you should mess with any dog in
Right.
an owner's hand, quite
Right.
frankly. I mean, I think that's respect for the animal, and you need to ask the owner if it's okay to.
Well, you should go up to any
Yeah.
dog you don't know and try to pet it.
him. I mean, it's
like
just
common
logic.
sense.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
But it happens all the time.
It happens all
so
the time.
annoying.
Yeah,
It
drives me crazy.
It reminds me, Harris, of that quote. What's the quote? It's not the size of the dog. It's not.
Size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Right,
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think Chihuahuas a lot of times embody that.
Yeah.
Patty says, Patty Bowden joining us here, and she says, "Hey Jerry, tell Harris the little dog, and I'll throw this to you, Harris. Tell Harris the little dog might have been a big dog in a previous lifetime, and he remembers that energy." What do you think about that,
Yeah.
Harris Tolber?
Honestly, I feel like getting to know Mary and Patty and some of these other women that interact with animals so much, y'all just have a very advanced almost spiritual understanding. And I think
Thank you, Patty, for saying
Yeah,
that. And I heard you on your show the other day talk about an animal communicator, and I'm right there with you on both of those. And it's true because that's where they're connecting. The animals are connecting with their world
Exactly.
on that level.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not saying that they're not also digging holes in your yard and
Right.
chewing your shoes. Come on, they're dogs or they're whatever. But it's, I think, a good aspect that could contribute to who they are. It doesn't matter so much about the body. It's the essence of the being that is making the body move.
I love it.
So I think it's
So you
a
believe
very
the
good
dog could
possibility.
potentially have been in another animal in a different lifetime?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
I do.
So to recap, Thunder and the products and dogs. You've given a very good outline on this.
I do have one thing. Let me add this. In
Yeah.
fact, I just found out about it. I don't have a lot of information, but I understand that the Food and Drug Administration just this month has approved a new drug for canine noise aversion. And it's called Sileo. Again, I'm not familiar with it. It inhibits this, can't say that word. It's a brain chemical associated with anxiety and fear response. So some of the tests, it's a long article, but some of the tests they've done, and this was with fireworks, New Year's Eve fireworks,
Okay.
that they did tests with the drug and a large number of dogs, and most of the responses were positive, that the dogs did not have the reaction they typically would without it. So you may want to check with your vet if you have a dog that has this huge reaction. We're going to ask our vet about it for our one, who in particular will go through windows.
And is that
to
2
get
weeks from
away
now?
from it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we also have, I want to get to the week that was at Caring for Creatures. We have an update
Yes.
on the almond brittle latte from Greenberries. We have a
Yes.
check coming from Greenberries Coffee Company
Yay.
to Mary Birkholz and Caring for Creatures. And we will know more on a next Thursday show. In fact, we will be doing a photo shoot at Greenberries with this check presentation perhaps early next week, which we then could possibly integrate that check presentation and those photos into next week's show, which I'm
Absolutely.
really excited about.
Yeah, I am very excited and so grateful to Greenberries for that wonderful, wonderful gift. And we're excited to get with you next week and,
Yes.
and do the big thing. We also have our Power of 10 campaign still going from now to the end of April. And $10 will do amazing things. So we're looking for everyone who listens, pass it on, give $10 or give a multiple of 10. Whatever you're comfortable and able to do, it's a huge help.
Make
Huge
sure,
help.
Harris, you include that in the copy of this show, The Power of 10. One more time on the value and what the Power of 10 does for Caring for Creatures.
As an example,
Yes.
last evening we accepted 2 hounds from the House Group. It's a
Stacey Norris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of her great volunteers, Jaylene, was out with the 2 dogs yesterday evening. They came from the location that earlier or in the winter when we had the horribly cold weather, one of the dogs at this location froze to death or died in her dog house. And House was able to get this individual to surrender some of the dogs there. And these are 2 of those dogs, George and Jimmy. Okay. So as an example, George and Jimmy, the House took care of some general vet work like a rabies vaccine. We're grateful they got both of them neutered yesterday. And some medications. They're in tough shape. They're thin. One of them from such a tight collar, the vet, Jaylene told me, the vet told her because it had such a tight collar or something around its neck, the hair is scarred. So the hair will probably not grow back there, but they have skin infections, they have ear infections, they have intestinal parasites. We'll be working on those. As just that little example, the power of 10, that $10 will go a long way for medications for them, for good quality food for these 2 dogs, not to mention the other 190 some animals that we have at the sanctuary. So the food, the medical, it's amazing. The costs, you're taking $1,000 a day.
To keep caring for creatures
To keep
going.
caring for creatures moving at the basic level. So your help with that, we're at about $3,200 right now. Our goal, $5,000. So we have a little ways to go, but I know we can do it.
Have you done a GoFundMe?
We have.
Yeah.
In the past.
Was that for the HVAC units? Okay.
Yeah.
And that surpassed the goal.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Absolutely.
Why don't we do one quarterly?
Yeah. Well, we could.
For different endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And promote it on this platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what is the next, obviously the $1,000 a day is a astronomical amount, and that's the base level. But what is the next thing that's going to, I don't want to say go, but the next thing that we're going to have to overcome?
Yeah, Lord knows. It could be anything that I don't even know about yet. Like I said, just the main expenses. It takes a lot of money.
We had the parvo.
Yeah, we had the parvo thing.
Right.
That we're still working on paying all of that off.
Right.
A huge amount of emergency vet bills from that whole experience. I don't know who I'm getting in here, that will have a huge surgical need. You never know. I don't know what mechanical thing might go wrong. We're in dire need right now of a new large mower. Our mower is a 0-turn that we've had for like 13 years. And
how many
they're
acres
pretty
you got there?
expensive. 157 acres.
So that's a pretty important
It's huge.
tool to the...
Yeah, we do.
Who's cutting the grass?
We have a staff person who does that. I do have some wonderful volunteers who come out and help with all the planting areas and weeding, that sort of thing, and some weed eating of other areas. So, but it takes, in the summer, the grass growing season is huge because we have a lot of outside dog yards that need to be cut.
And if you don't keep the grass down, that's when like the ticks and fleas and all the other bugs get there.
Exactly. You need to do that. And who wants to? And you have to pick up poops. You can't be having poops in high grass.
Right.
And be able to find them. But yeah, so there's any number of things. And I'm going to put out a little bit. We have a matching gift campaign coming up, and I'm probably going to have that ready to roll in May.
Okay.
So that's something that we will really push here.
I think we should get a GoFundMe going every quarter.
Yeah.
And then just promote it hard.
Yeah.
How's the how are the adoptions going?
In all honesty, we have several in the works right now, but it's slower than I like.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Often spring is. When you have puppies, we've been able to adopt all the puppies, but puppies are no problem.
Yeah.
But matching some of the others can sometimes. But we do have some solid applications on some. But I want to feature 2 today that I think are wonderful animals. Dawn.
Okay.
It's a little brown tabby. She's... I don't know. June, she'll be a year. Spayed, ready to go medically, sweet, cuddly. Oh my God, she's a move-in ready kitty. Absolutely adorable. And Lindsay, this is a very special dog. Lindsay came to us from a high kill facility, and when she arrived, she just didn't have any hair. She was ridden with demodectic mange, and she was young. She was a puppy still. Puppy meaning probably half grown. She had no hair. And we worked really hard with, good diet and supplements, et cetera. And she immediately responded. She's smart. She's a cattle dog mix of sorts. Not real big, probably about 30 pounds, a little over.
She's a good-looking dog.
She's absolutely adorable. Yeah. Smart, smart, smart. If you are looking for a dog, if you like to train your dog to do things, she's the dog for you. She's fine with other animals, including cats. But she's one of those dogs that if she doesn't have something to do, then she starts to
get
into
trouble.
Yeah, it's like, yay, what's next? Let me create something. But Ashley Morris was out not a week ago at the sanctuary, and we had her work with us with Lindsay, and she's smart. She's smart. She's really a quick learner.
That's the dog trainer.
Yeah, but Ashley was showing us the
stuff
best
to
way
do.
to work with Lindsay,
Got it.
training-wise. And she was saying, yeah, this dog watcher, she knows she's looking for the next thing to learn.
And are
What do you got for
you
me?
archiving the shows on caringforcreatures.org? Diane, is
Yes,
she doing that?
I believe so.
Okay,
I
the
think
reason
so,
I'm
or-
bringing that up is because I think
It's
you
not
guys
there?
should go. Well, no, I don't
Oh.
know if it's there. You guys should check out the show we did with Ashley
Oh, right.
Morris.
Yeah.
Because she gave us some run through. She did some testimonials on things you can do to take your dog and your relationship with your animal to another level. So I would encourage you to do that. You can also find them archived on the Caring for Creatures Facebook page, which is facebook.com/caringforcreaturesVA. Susan says Lindsay is awesome. Susan's
Yes.
watching in Connecticut.
Yes, she
Lindsay is
is.
awesome. So glad you are featuring her. She hurt so much at the kill shelter that she was growling and not wanting to be touched. She has blossomed under your care. Thank you for helping her.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Susan. And she was a mess when she got to us. And but oh my God, she's adorable now. And she's just ready for her new life. And she'll be a year old this May, next month. So she's young.
Love it. Love it.
Ready to go.
Anything else in the notebook?
I do have one hot off the press thing.
Okay.
Related to a campaign that I just found out about before getting here today. Chris over at Pet Supplies Plus is putting an offer out. Anybody who purchases a 5-pound or greater or larger bag of Redford Naturals cat food, the grain-free cat food, or any of the dog varieties of Redford Naturals food, they will get 10% off of their order. So that's going to be ongoing. We use some of that food at Caring for Creatures. So
How much food do you go through?
We go through about 40 pounds of dry dog food a day. And
You hear that, Harris?
and then cans, we probably go through 18 large cans. And for cats, we probably will go through a 15 or 20 pound bag every day of dry food, plus a lot of canned food.
Where does that fit in the overall cost of $1,000 per day? I mean, staff is probably number one, right?
Yes,
And then-
staff and medical,
And then medical,
are kind
and
of
then,
at a time.
maintenance
And then
of the facility?
food, I would say we spend close to $1,500 a month.
$1,500
on
a month.
food.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not in the top
It's-
five then.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
but still, obviously,
But
it's critically important.
but it's critical.
Yeah, it's keep the dogs.
Yeah,
and
it's
animals
critical,
alive.
and that's just we get other supplements and things. That's just food. Some of the supplements we use for the dogs that also can run into some money. So yeah, there's any number of expenses that
I love it.
Run.
You and I,
Add them all together.
42 minutes in.
Oh, wow.
Feel, we can do this.
Yeah,
Anything else you're missing?
I don't guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We catch her
Guess so.
on the Joe Thomas Show on Fridays on WCHV at 107.5. Are you doing it now?
I've got Bill, volunteer Bill.
Okay.
And, Bill Sykes is helping me. We're trading off
Okay.
weeks. He is covering it now, probably through the first part of June. He's also organizing
The
wings,
dog, yeah.
and wheels
The cars,
for Paws in June. So he's keeping everyone updated on all the happenings that are getting scheduled for that event. And that is Saturday, June 8th in Fluvanna County. And it will
You're a
benefit.
benefactor.
We're one of them.
benefactors,
And so is Fluvanna SPCA, Green Dogs Unleashed, and Peaceful Passings.
I love
all
it.
of the Fluvanna animal rescue
And
groups.
where can you find that information?
Should find it hopefully on our website.
Okay.
There's a Wings and Wheels for Paws. I'm going to have Bill in here on May.
You
in
should.
May, and he's going to give everyone the most updated information on it.
Okay,
So,
caringforcreatures.org, online on Facebook at Caring for Creatures VA. Janet Keir, hi Mary. Jan
Jan.
from Pennsylvania is watching
Yes.
too. I love folks from Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Northern Virginia, Harrisonburg, Fluvanna, Albemarle, and Charlottesville watching today on the Caring for Creatures show. Thursdays
Yes.
at 3 p.m. on the I Love Seaville Network. Mary Birkholz, thank you.
Thank you.
We will see you next week. Who's the guest next week?
Ashley.
Ashley.
Our second training class.
I love
next
it.
Thursday.
Second training class next Thursday.
Send us information. If you have a question on training,
Yeah.
get it to us this week, between now and next Thursday. And
We're going to
to
do a
our
demo
website.
with Liza, the I
Yes.
Love Seaville mascot.
Yeah.
And she's a very good dog to demo with.
She's wonderful.
Thank you, Mary. My name is
Thank
Jerry
you.
Miller for Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickower, and Lauren Linsky. It is the Caring for Creatures show Thursdays at 3 o'clock on the I Love Seaville Network. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Good work.
Thank you.
46. Very solid. Harris, good stuff. I like how you...